All right, testing my mic here. Perfect. So let me switch to my coding overlay and all right, there we go. Hello everyone, welcome back. We'll be continuing with learning Node.js stream and yeah, last time we left off at the 1 hour 30-minute mark, which is yeah, I wanted to say almost we're half completed with the course, but yeah, there's still a bit more to be done. I yeah, I don't think I need to give any further introduction. Let's just get started. The last time we reached this factory, I believe we reached, or did we? Maybe we did a bit of, maybe we completed the factory function segment, but let's just start from there.
So if we were to create another object with the same properties and methods as the dog object, we would have to copy and paste. So I'll show you an example of that. Let's say I copy all this and paste it here. And let's say I call it another dog. And the name, let's give it a name of Marley. Let's say the breed is a chocolate lab. The age, let's say, is 3. And let's say the weight in pounds is 60. So this leads to code duplication, which becomes hard to maintain once our application begins to grow. So I'm going to comment this out. So far, we've been using functions to perform some operation and return a primitive value, that value being a number, a string, or a Boolean value. But we can also use functions to return an object. So here's an example of how we can do that to reduce our code duplication and our need to copy and paste. Create a new function, and I'll call it getDog. Now I'll specify parameters, which allow me to customize the properties for a dog
Just
object. So I'll
adjusting
call it
my
name,
camera here.
the breed, the age, and the weight in pounds. So what I'll do here is I'll return an object literal with the same properties as this dog object. So I'll give it a name.
And I believe here he mentioned short. Is it right to say shortcut or short form? Yeah, I like short form better. He mentioned a short form where if the key and value is the same, you just have to return, like, yeah, you just have to enter it twice, and Node knows that, hey, just this is the key and this is the value. So
So the key is name and the value.
in fact, let me test it out. Data function, get dog, name, breed, age, weight in pounds. Name, breed, age, weight in pounds. Basically, we return a object, right? And it's just gonna be name. Yeah, we just return the entire object as such, and it also has some
Is a parameter
methods.
variable, right? The argument
Eat
that we pass
and
in.
barcode, right?
The breed.
Let's have that. I know we haven't reached data functions here, but let's see if I remember this. Seems like I do.
We'll have the age. So you can use equals. I'll move back up. Const. I'll call it another dog. Equals get breed. Chocolate. Rather than having to duplicate all this code and copy and paste, and 60. So
All right. Was it yeah, it was 60. And let's just call dog dot eat bar, and let's just log dog as such. Right. So actually let's add the watch argument and yeah, run objects.js. Maybe I need to save it. Okay, there we go. So yep, Marley Chocolate Lab 360, and we have two functions. Great.
So rather than having to duplicate all this code and copy and paste it, we can instead get that same functionality all in one line by using a reusable function. One more thing I want to show, we see that we do have duplication here in our function because we're using the same key and value, which have the same exact name. So when you have this in JavaScript, we have syntactic sugar, which allows us to clean up our code. So JavaScript is able to look at this and know that
Syntactic sugar. Okay, all right. I like that term even more. Let's use that
key and the
rather
value
than
have the same
short
name.
form.
So it only works when these values, the key and this parameter that we're supplying to it, is the same. So let's output it out, console.log, we'll call it another dog. So outputting that object, I'll do node objects.js, and I can output and see the properties and the method.
If you want to become a pro Python developer without having any prior knowledge on the subject,
What are factory functions?
Functions which shall give objects
Factory functions
like
provide an efficient way for us to create a new object. Now, the name of the function will use camel case notation and it can accept parameter variables. These parameter variables can help customize the values of the object being returned. The benefit is that it reduces code duplication and the need to copy and paste. So we know that the object literal syntax using curly braces creates one object, and then we can use factory functions to easily create multiple objects. Factory functions is not the common way of achieving this, rather we use constructor functions. The purpose of the constructor function is to construct the initial state of an object. When creating a
we're
function, we use
getting
Pascal notation,
to
where we
ops now, object oriented programming. Ops or oops. How do you pronounce it?
use camel case notation for variables and function names. Constructor functions use a special keyword
Definitely
called this
not
that
oops.
references the object that's following
Like
this code. So when you see the keyword this, you can think
yeah.
of it as this current object. So the naming convention for
Oops,
constructor
I
functions is to
guess.
have the name of it be a noun rather than a verb. So for an example of a constructor function, use the function keyword and we name it a noun. So I'll name it dog. I'll specify the parameter variables. So name, breed, age, and weight in pounds. So if I compare the differences, above we have the factory function, which uses a verb and camel case notation, and
I was pretty I was pretty sure JavaScript had a class, right? Yeah, the class keyword is that. Okay, maybe anyway, let's just continue. Maybe
dog uses
he'll
a noun and Pascal.
fit us
So internally,
later.
when using a constructor function, there's a special keyword called this, which is assigned to an object literal, the curly braces. And this is done internally and implicitly. So we don't have to explicitly write this out. I just want to show you a visual example of it. And then we would add properties to this keyword. So I'll say this.name is equal to name, this.breed is equal to breed, this.age is age, and this.weight in pounds is weight in pounds. So what we were doing, we were assigning this current object, specifying a key, and assigning it to a value. This value is actually the argument being passed. Then we can specify our methods. I'll do this.eat and assign it to an anonymous function, the function keyword, and then I'll just copy this console log. And then our last method, be this.bark, is assigned to an anonymous function, and I'll just copy this console log. And this will implicitly return the this keyword, where this keyword represents this current object. So this convention of making it uppercase and using Pascal notation tells other programmers that this is a constructor function, and it's a common convention used in JavaScript. So to use a constructor function, we utilize a special keyword called new. I'll scroll down to show an example of that. I'll say const another dog as the name of the variable, and I'll assign that to new dog. Then we pass in our arguments. I'll specify Marley as the name of the dog. It's a lab. We'll say 3 years old and 60 pounds. So we say that we instantiated a new dog object, and the variable name another dog references this new object that we just created, that we just instantiated. So let's talk more about the new keyword. The new keyword is syntactic sugar, which means it provides a modern and clean syntax and does 3 things under the hood. When we use the new keyword with the constructor function, it creates an empty JavaScript object. It then sets this keyword to point to this empty object in memory, and then it returns this keyword and does so implicitly. So to recap, the main purpose of constructor functions is to define a function that will initialize an object with an initial state, and this initial state can be customized based on the arguments that you pass to the parameter variables. So now I'll log out this object. I'll say console.log another dog, and I'll run this, and here we see outputs our object.
All right, then why is the class keyword? What is the class keyword used for in JavaScript? Hmm. So I guess when you use the class keyword, you need to be explicit. Like this would be the equivalent of the dunder in it, like the constructor function. Yeah, I guess what he's showing us is that we can also use the function keyword to create classes. When we use the new keyword along with it, it automatically assigns this as a empty dictionary. Okay, let's just follow with this. Maybe the construct. Okay, let's just follow the tutorial. We'll ask questions later, I guess. Play this again. What's happening? This constructor function may be converted to a class declaration. All right. Okay. I think let's try this out. Hmm. No, I don't think we can have arrow functions inside this, right? Maybe I'm wrong. Let's just test it out. So this dot bar would equal. Copy this. All right, and
Log, another dog. When I run this, and here we see outputs to the parameter variables. So now I'll log out this object.
huh. That worked. Interesting to note that when you oh yeah, because this returns the object. Anyway, I was just saying when you log another dog at like the print statement attaches what the class is called before it prints the object.
Say console.log, another dog. When I run this, and here we see outputs are object.
Is Kafka and Zookeeper really that important? Many Fortune 500 companies use these open source products.
What are constructor functions? Constructor functions are used to instantiate objects in JavaScript. We would name the function using Pascal notation and use a noun for the name. Then for setting the key value pairs, we will use the this keyword. And within it, we can set the properties and the methods of an object. Objects in JavaScript are dynamic, meaning that we can add or remove properties or methods at any time. So for example, if we have const person is assigned to the object literal, the key of name and the value Steven, and with a semicolon, here's just console log that, run it again. So we just use the object literal with the expected property. Now we can also add properties on the fly. So if I do person, and then say if I use dot notation, and I can just say any key that I want, I can say favorite food, and assign it to the string, tacos, then I'll just copy this and I'll log it again, and so I'll comment the first console log out, and let's run it again. So here we see we've added this property of favorite food on the fly, so you can update objects dynamically. We can also update it using bracket notation, say person, and I'll say favorite ice cream, and I'll assign that to chocolate, just to show a different syntax for you to add a property. Here, I'll log it out, comment this one out, and here we see we've added that property. Now we can also delete properties. Now we delete properties using the delete keyword. So I'll say delete person dot favorite ice cream, and if I were to console log it, or just copy and paste it here, then I expect the object to have the properties of the name and the favorite food. And we get it as expected. So I'll comment this console log. Now we can also add methods on the fly, so I can say person dot eat as the key, and just assign it to an anonymous function, and this is just console log, say start eating, for example. Then I can invoke it. I can just say person dot eat, then the parentheses to invoke and call that method. Let's run it, and we get the expected output of start eating, which we defined in this function. So notice that when we created this object literal, we use the const keyword. Now in this instance, since we are assigning it to a complex data type, being an object data type that stores multiple key value pairs, using the const keyword means that we cannot assign it to another value, but we can still change and mutate the properties and methods within the object literal. To show an example of that, I can say person and assign that to an empty object, an object literal, and let's run it. And here we get an error because we cannot change the assignment to a constant variable after we've already initialized it. Explain in your own words, how are objects dynamic? Objects in JavaScript are dynamic because you can change and mutate the properties and methods of the object after it has been initialized. Every object in JavaScript has a constructor. The constructor function is the one used to construct an object, and it is called implicitly whenever we create a new object. We use the term instantiate whenever we create a new object, as in we instantiate. The constructor function is the one used to construct an object, and it is called implicitly whenever we create a new object. We use the term instantiate whenever we create a new object, as in we instantiated a new object. So we have our existing object literal syntax, and person references this object. Now, there is a built-in property for all objects called constructor, which we can access either through dot notation or bracket notation. So I'll console log that, console.log, say person.constructor. I'll output it, and here we see it references a constructor function. I'll comment both these out. So when we do let new object and assign it to an empty object literal with these curly braces, internally JavaScript sees this as if we were to do let new object assign to the new keyword and then object. Comment this out. So these two lines, the one above and the one beneath it,
I see.
mean the same thing. However, this first syntax, which uses object literal syntax, is syntactic sugar. Essentially, this means it's a shorter way to write the same code. So in JavaScript, we also have new string, as in the string object, but instead we use string literals. So for example, if I get my name, now we also have new boolean, but we use true and false instead for boolean literals. We also have new number, but we just use numbers as a number literal. So every object has a constructor property, which
I wonder what new number
function used
returns.
to create that object.
Maybe 0. At least new string would return just empty string. As showed new boolean return would return true or false. You know what? Let's actually test it out. This should be an empty string. Just copy this. We'll have one for boolean. Then we'll have one for number and object, because why not? Huh. So new string returned. Okay. Right. New boolean returns false by default, I guess. The new number returns 0. The object returns an empty array. Alright?
But we just use numbers as a number literal. So every object has a constructor property, which refers to the constructor function used to create that object. What is the constructor property?
It's the function which is called automatically when a new object is instantiated, new class is
The
instantiated.
constructor property is a property that exists for all objects in JavaScript. You can access it with either the dot notation or bracket notation, and it references the constructor function used to instantiate and create that object. In JavaScript, unlike other programming languages, functions are objects. So for this function that I'll define here,
Functions are objects. I believe functions are not let me just Google this. Are functions objects in Python? Yeah, they are. Yeah, I guess everything is an object in Python. Same for JS, I guess.
I'll name it function add, and it'll accept two parameters, num1 and num2, and then I'll just return the sum of these values. So this function here is actually an object in JavaScript, so it is an object in memory. I'll show you an example of that. I can actually assign it to another value. So I'll say const n, just the name of this variable, and I'll assign that to the name of this function. So now n references this object in memory, it references this function. I can actually call and invoke this function. I'll show you an example of that. I'll do console.log, and I'll say n, and I'll invoke it, and I'll pass in two arguments. I'll just say 2 and 2. Now I'll log it out, up arrow, and here I see the value 4 is expected. So I'll comment this out. So this function I defined add has members, meaning that it has properties and methods. Here I'll console log, and I'll say add.
Want to build your own version of ChatGPT? Join us for this amazing opportunity.
And this has a property length, which defines the number of parameters that this function accepts. I'll log that out and expect it 2, and we get it as expected. So I'll comment all this out, and I'll define a constructor function. I'll say function, and then using Pascal notation, so the first letter is capitalized, I'll name it programmer, and it will accept one parameter. I'll just say name. So we know to use the this keyword, which means this current object. So I'll say this.name, and I'll sign it. And I'll also define a method within this constructor function. I'll say this.writesCode, or write code, is assigned to an anonymous function, and I'll say console.log, and I'll say code in JavaScript, and it with a semicolon. So this constructor function is an object in memory. Console.log, and I'll say programmer.length, and we'll log it out, and we see it accepts one parameter. I'll just copy one more time, and I'll say constructor. Log that out. So here this references the constructor function. I'll show you a different syntax just to further demonstrate how functions are objects in JavaScript. I'll comment this out, command / or control / if you're on Windows, and I'll say const programmer and assign it to new function. I'll specify my parameter, name it name, and then I'll use *6 as a second argument, and I'll define this.name is assigned to name, and this.writeCode is assigned to the anonymous function. I'll just copy this console log here, So here I see I'm using the new function syntax to instantiate a function object, assigning it to this value. So then I can instantiate it, say const new programmer. Then I'll use the new keyword to call the constructor function, say new programmer, assigning it to
Hold on a
and
second.
then
What is?
as a second argument. And I'll define this dot name is assigned to name, and this dot write code is assigned to the anonymous function. I'll just copy this console log here. So here I see I'm using the new function syntax to instantiate a function object, assigning it to this value. So then I can
All right. Okay. So this gets treated as the actual code by JS when you use this function class. But then how does it know when to cut off at the parameters, like the arguments? Oh, hey there, Chekan. How are you? All right. Okay. I mean, is it good? My mic. I made some adjustments. I don't know. I believe it's more. The voice is more better, I guess. Yeah, it's going good. Yeah. All right. So, yeah, just continuing with the Node.js course. Yeah, exactly. No, I can hear myself when I say something to the mic, right? Yeah. Probably I'll look back into this recording, and if I feel there's a need, I might change some settings. Anyhow, let's take a look at this function class in Node.js. Huh. All right, let's just do new function. That brings it up perhaps. Let's do this. I mean, I understand he's just showing this to prove that everything is just object in JS, but interesting to look at. Yeah, it's going well, I would say. I mean, this is more like refresher course, since it's been like so long since I did the Broco tutorial, right? So just a refresher course as such. Yeah, it's going good. I think the beginning portion till now were just I would like to say simple, or maybe like the basic stuff, like the rest of it is gonna be the actual where the actual content. I like to think where the actual content is going to be, anyhow, so let's take a look at oh, where's the okay, there we go. Create a new function object. Calling the constructor directly can create functions. Yeah, I mean, no, I don't think anyone uses this, but it's interesting to look at. The function constructor creates function that execute in the global scope only. How does it know when to cut off? Oh, I guess maybe argn, alright. Parameters okay. Then function body. How does it know when to cut off at the argument? For example, X. Maybe it just yeah, maybe there's something written internally which recognizes, hey, this is not a parameter, this is the actual function body or something. Yeah, interesting to look at. What's that? You might have to use it for specific cases, but I think it's so specific. Yeah, I don't think anyone uses this as such. It's probably not that secure to use too. It's just there. Like it might be used internally or something. It's kind of like how you don't wanna evaluate. In probably JS also has it, right? I saw the word here somewhere. where you have a eval function which literally just takes in a string and evaluates it in whatever language you're working in. But no one uses it in production because it's very dangerous, right? You can run code, and that's not a good thing that you want to do.
Instantiate it, say const new programmer. Then I'll use the new keyword to call the constructor function, say new programmer, and pass in the argument of my name and with a semicolon, and then I'll say new programmer and call the method write code. So let's log that out, and we get the output as expected. Explain how functions are objects in JavaScript. Internally, functions are represented as objects in JavaScript, meaning that they have properties and methods.
Everything is an
So we have
object.
different data types in JavaScript, which include the primitive data types, which are number, string, boolean, null, undefined, symbol, and big int. We also have the complex data type, better known as object data types. So arrays and functions also fall into the object category. The reason we differentiate the data types is because of how they're allocated in memory. So let's consider the primitive data type first. If I say let a, so arrays per string, boolean, null, undefined, symbol, and big int. We also have the complex data type, better known as object data types. So arrays and functions also fall into the object category. The reason we differentiate the data types is because of how they're allocated in memory. So let's consider the primitive data type first. If I say let a and I initialize that to 10, let's say let b and I initialize that to be assigned to the variable a. Now if I reassign the value a, let's say if I assign that to the value 20, let's console log both of them. Console.log b. Open up
Yeah, so this is a common example, right? B is gonna be set to A is 10, B is A. So B references A, so it's 10. Both are gonna be 20, I believe, right?
panel and we'll run it. So here we see the output different.
Oh no. A is 10. B is given the reference of A, which is 10. So B is 10. But if you set A to 20, oh, all right. I guess it just references the previous value of A, which is 10. What's that? Class of functions. Functions are objects. Same thing here. I mean, it's just especially with arrays, right? That's the thing which like takes me off, right? JS treats arrays as object in a way which is confusing. Like I think when I yeah, it's confusing is all I can say. Like it uses the index as the keys of a object, and yeah. I agree with you on that one. So I'm just gonna test one thing out here real quick. I don't know if I have installed Python in the system, but just test it out. Oh, I guess not. Maybe if I do py. No, I need to install that. I'll just search for an online compiler for the time being. So I'm just gonna let me. Oops. If I can't. Okay, there we go. I'll just run, see if this is working. Great. It is then BS20 print A. Yeah, now I'm gonna set A is equal to 20. Okay. And also let's just print B along with it. Yeah, it's the same. Yeah, I got a bit confused there. So A is basically stored in some address, right? When I say A is equal to 10, A is like A is stored in memory, right? Let's call it memory A, where A is stored in. Let me actually make it a comment. It's trying to make more sense of it, I guess. So when I say B is equal to A, B is assigned memory A as address. When I say A is equal to 20, A is just assigned a completely different memory, right? Maybe memory A. I don't know if that makes much sense when I write it out loud. But B still references memory A, which is 10. So where 20 is stored in. What's that? I added a custom property to my function. Not sure if I'll. Okay, let's check that out then. All right, so you use the function constructor thingy. So function dot. Oops. Okay, I need to stop using the Windows key to zoom in every time. Just that I got the habit since I use Mac more often now. Okay, I understand. Close. Why can't I go to the left hand side? Okay, maybe this. Okay, never mind. So let's take a look. So you're assigning a creator that add a custom property to my function. Yeah. I mean, it makes sense that you can assign a property to a object, but since we call it a function, it's just confusing, isn't it? Yeah, exactly. Function dot created. I don't need to. Oh yeah, okay, okay. You just assigned. It's not a method that you assigned. It's Yeah, I was like, oh, okay, created that. Maybe it's a function. It's a value, isn't it? Cool, amazing. Param and param too. Yeah, again, I don't feel like this is going to be used in like it's just something interesting to look at, isn't it? But I don't think it has many practical uses.
Values. So both A and B are assigned to a number, which is a primitive data type. And when we log them out, we see that they are two independent variables, meaning that they refer to different memory addresses. When we assign a variable to another variable, which holds a primitive value, then that primitive value will be passed by copy. So essentially, this would be the same as doing let B assigned to the value of 10. So if this is your first time being introduced to this concept, this may seem overwhelming at first, but this becomes second nature over time. To summarize what I've been saying, just remember this. Primitive values are passed by copy, not by reference. So I'll clear this. So let's say if I initialize let A,
Primitive values are passed by.
overwhelming at first, but this becomes second nature over time. To summarize what I've been saying, just remember this. Primitive values are passed by copy, not by reference. So I'll clear this.
Yeah, but when okay, and when you pass an object, if you try to update, if you have two objects A and B, right? B references A, and you try to in fact, why am I confusing myself? Let me just code it out and you know. Alright, so let's do the same example but with objects now. Let A equals this. Oh, actually, let's just use this new syntax because why not? Okay, let B equals A. Now, if I console.log A, right? And if I, oh, not like this. And if I have, if I update, oh no, actually let's console.log B. And if I update A with, let's say, property 1, just set that to value 1. Let's just set it to a string. And if I console.log B again, now this references the memory, so B should, B and A should be the same. And let's see. And yeah, there we go. That's working as expected. And I believe the same thing would apply for arrays too.
This.
Since
So
that's also object.
value 20, and I'll say let B is assigned to A. So B is assigned to this reference variable, which is assigned to this object. So let me change this value. So I'll say A.value, and I'll assign that to the value 100. So now
I believe if you do wanna copy it, they have some sort of copy function, right? Like if I were to do, is it a dot copy? Okay, it's not a dot copy. Copy and dictionary NodeJs. Isn't that a I guess we have to use this. Wasn't this spread operator or was these or maybe it's something else? I'm not sure. I guess we have to do it this way. Yep. So B is just an empty array and it copies a dictionary rather than reference, like passing the memory address. Yeah, exactly. If it's Yeah, if it's not a primary type, then it will uh, reference the address, memory address, whereas the other one would just like copy the value as such. Oh, I see. You have to use object.assign. So other than using the spread operator, we can do this, is what you're saying, right? Yeah, this is what I was looking for. I thought that maybe there might be some method like this, but I guess not. Oh, actually, can you do I'm just testing it out. Does this have any meaning? I guess not. I guess you have to do object dot assign. This is a class method, right? Why do you have a object to copy? You need the params in the parenthesis. Oh, you mean this? Like I feel like I did something wrong here. Is this what I say? No, this works, right? I'm just wondering, yeah, what is this? Why do we have a empty area? Let's read the target object to oh, okay, like it copies it into an empty. So if I have a object like let's say random key, let me guess, it would just copy it over to the yeah, there we go. That's yeah, great. That's good to know.
Flip both of them.
And then
Console.log.
here,
I say A on console.log. B, let's see in the panel. So here you see when I log them out, they have the same value. I updated the value of A, but I did not update the value of B. And the reason why I updated the same value is because they are both referencing the same object in memory. They're both referencing the same memory address. So to summarize, primitives are copied by their value and objects are copied by their reference. This is an important concept and it'll make more sense with practice. And this concept also applies to other programming languages. What are primitive values and what do they pass by? Primitive values refer to simple values, such as string, number, booleans, and they are passed by copy. What are object values and what do they pass by?
passed by memory
Object values refer to
address.
key value pairs, which also includes arrays, and they are passed by reference.
The days of manual stock trading are gone. In the next 5 years,
So we've covered the different for loops. We've covered the for of loop, which is used to iterate over an array. We have the for in loop, which is used to iterate over the keys of an object. And I'll give you a reminder of both of those. So first I'll create, I'll say let numbers, and assign that to an array of 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And to iterate over it, I'll use for. I'll say const elements of numbers. Now once again, I could name this variable whatever I want, but I'm naming elements just to demonstrate that it iterates over the elements of the array. Then I'll do console.log of elements. Let's log that out with node objects.js.
Oh, I guess enumerating properties and okay, now I know why he's called it an object, but oh, actually no, that makes sense because yeah, you see, this really takes me off that no, not does this.
And this outputs all the elements in the array. I comment this out. Then I'll create an object, say const dog, assigned to the curly braces, name, max. I'll say
Yeah, this would print name each. Like if you were to use the off loop, it would print name each, like the property name as such. If I were to use the in loop, I believe it gives the values, right?
And I'll say eye color is blue.
Maybe I'm wrong. Let's
const key in dog. So the for in loop will iterate over
yeah.
keys of an object. So I'll say console.log dog, and using square bracket notation, I'll use the key to iterate the values. So I'll put it, and we get the expected result.
But I guess if you use the off loop directly, it just gives name, age, eye color, or that's it. Let's just check it out real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And let's have 4i of numbers. Console.log I. And let's also have student, have name, I'll just call him Rahul. Age 20. Yeah, that should be fine for now. So if I use for I of student, this should give me name and age as such, right? Huh. It has already been declared. Okay, maybe I'm using. Oh, all right. Okay, I see. Already, I'm using student. Um, I'll just call him student two. Oh, it doesn't work. Okay. Student two is not a triple. All right. Huh. Yeah, you have to use the in loop. So in yeah, I remember now. In loop, we have to use for objects, whereas this off loop we have to use for arrays. Right.
So comment this out. So we have another syntax for enumerating over the keys.
If you use the you do this, it gives you the index as such. Yeah. All right. We can. All right. Yeah, maybe check that out. Maybe I'm doing something wrong out here. Yeah. Now.
And the values of an object. I'll store the values here. I'll say const, and I'll name it keys. And we can use object.keys and pass in the name of the object. In this case, it's dog. So object is a built-in class in JavaScript, and it has properties and methods. Once again, methods are just functions defined within an object. So this returns all the keys of the object as an array. I'll console log it, console.log, key, and it has properties and methods. Once again, methods are just functions defined within an object. So this returns all the keys of the object as an array.
Yeah, we can't do dog.keys. We have to always call this object class, right, to get the different methods. Yeah.
I'll console log it, console.log, keys. So this outputs all the keys of the object. Comment this out. Now we also have object.values in order to get all these values stored as an array. So I can say const values is equal to object.values of dog. Let's console.log that and output it. Now we get all the values of this object stored as an array. We can also get the properties, so the key value pairs, each stored as an element in the array. To show you that, I'll say const, and I'll call it entries equal to object.entries.
This is, I'm gonna guess, more like items, like get each pair, like name, max, each 5, eye color, blue.
Let's console log that. Entries. We'll output it. So here we see the key value pairs has been stored as an element in the array. So essentially this is a nested array. So this provides another syntax to accomplish the same thing, which is enumerating over an object. Now to show you how we can use these methods to iterate over the values, I'll show you an example. Let's say for, and I will say const key of object.keys. I pass in dog. I'm using for of because we're iterating over an array. Then I can just copy and paste this to key. We'll output that. So once again, this iterates over the array. I comment that out.
Yeah. Alright, okay, I guess if you have to get the property name, we have to call the keys method of the object class on the object we want to get the keys from, and then do it that way. So let's just write this down. Yeah, maybe this is what you were referring to. So cost, oh, alright, that's great. Yeah, let's just write the syntax at least once. So basically we just have this to get the keys. We just copy this over multiple times and then sit it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's although it would have made sense, right, if the off for loop was compatible with this. Or even better, I would much prefer for there to be just one for loop. Yeah, maybe I'm just very much like suited for Python. Alright, so you have keys, values, and entries. Actually, let's use this multiple cursor thingy. Right, and yep, there we go.
file. Then I'll say for const value of object.values, the name of the object, and output that. This outputs all the values, and then we'll do our entries. So I can say for const entry of object.entries, pass in the name of the object, console.log of entry, and we'll output it. So here we see the key value pairs displayed as an array. And this particular syntax may come in handy when doing programming interviews. There are cases when you need to enumerate over an object. How can you enumerate over the properties of an object? There are different ways to enumerate over the properties of an object. One way is you can use the for in loop, iterate over the keys of an object. We can also use the built-in object class. For example, iterating over the keys with object.keys, enumerate over the.
Oh, all right. Okay. Yeah, I see. So for the object parent class, you use these methods at keys, values, entries, and assign. Assign is basically to copy the entire dictionary as such rather than referencing it. What about the array class? What do you use that? For this one. Like, what are the most? I mean, yeah, popular ones, I guess. But do you even use this, or like, I guess for an array you can just call like this directly, right? Or yeah. What's that? Object.group by is crazy good. Alright, what does group by do? I am assuming from the name it has some kind of filter property or something. So let's see. Oh, static method, basically class method, right? I guess it's, yeah, static method is another name for class method. Alright, let's see. I have a feeling this is one of those methods which is used for the one-liners you see on Code Wars and what was the other one? I forgot the lead code and stuff. Yeah. So let's see what this does. Okay, let's take a look at the example. An example. We have a list of objects here. Oh, alright. Huh. Yeah, that's pretty neat. Huh. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that as we if we were to look at some chord wars problem or some lead chord problem, someone would have used this as part of their one-liner solution. One of those methods, isn't it? Oh, alright. That's neat. Thank you for that. Let's take a look. Alright. So, string methods. Oh, I believe this space pin rings a bell. Like I think you had sent this to me before, right? I can't exactly remember why this plus 10 was used. There was some use for this, right? It was an interesting use to plus. Was it yeah, exactly, number 10, yeah. Shortcut, right? And if you do minus 10, I guess it gets assigned a negative value. Alright. Yeah. Wait. Pass float, yeah, this is what happens when you don't like practice what you learned, I guess. I remember that I've used this. I can't remember for what exactly, but yeah. Some of this I can just make out. Split, obviously, just split system. Trim is basically the strip equivalent, like the white spaces at the end just they get removed. Replace makes sense, includes yeah, I'm not sure. character at, yeah, makes sense. Um, index of, yeah, last index of starts with, ends with. Yes, as I use this, it will stick in memory. Random seal flow round. Okay, all the math methods. I guess math methods are the same for every language. So array methods, toString. Alright, okay, to get the string equivalent, I guess. Join, yeah, I don't remember exactly why that would be used. Concatenate, splice. There's a difference between these two. I just can't remember what it was. And index of, yeah, that makes sense. For each map filter. Uh, Join turns an array into a. Then what does toString do? Huh. No, okay, yeah, no. Join makes sense. Join is like if you provide a comma, then provided all the entries inside the array are strings, it gets converted into a string. Like if you have 1 2 3 4 5 6 in string format, it becomes 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma and so on. No, I don't think it's the same thing. It would actually, you know what? We have VS Code open. Let's just test it out. So I already have a numbers array, right? Oh, actually, you know what? For the purpose of this tutorial, I'm gonna just convert them to strings. So let joint string equal array dot wait don't I, oh okay, I guess it'll be like numbers dot join comma, and if I console dot log numbers to string, I guess it will just give me a string representation. Let's see if I'm right. Huh. Oh, okay. Then what about if I? Maybe I was wrong. Okay, so if I use numbers to string, it does the same thing as join but uses comma. Whereas if I wanna specify something else, then I guess I have to use this. I guess that's it. Yeah, yeah. I guess it's if I wanna use a comma as the separator, use to string. If I wanna use something else, use join. Then there's I mean this is self-explanatory. Explanatory. For my life, I can't pronounce it right. Okay. Map and filter. Filter, of course. Makes sense. Map, reduce. Yeah, you just reduce the entire array to a single value. It's all coming to me now, I guess. Map is a function which you kind of or at least in Python case, like you rarely, maybe I use it more in JS since it doesn't have maybe it has, I don't know. So there's a thing called comprehensions, list comprehensions, and dictionary comprehensions. I think I took a look at this and found that it's not widely supported in JS. It's something like this, you know. Yeah. So I'm just curious whether JS has something like this. Same thing applies for dictionaries and stuff. So the map function is at least in Python is not used that much. Maybe it's used more in JS. Then flat, yeah, I have to just I guess we'll just like of course, push is like append, pop makes sense. Yeah, as we use it, I guess it will make more sense. Object values entries assign group by being, I guess, the mostly used one. How to add a, oh, you do have set, huh? Yeah. Reach map method. Oh, you have a separate object for map? Huh. I guess we'll test it out later. Yeah, thank you for this. Great.
The values with object.values and enumerate over the properties with object.entries.
You know what? Actually, let me just, if you don't mind, I'm just gonna copy this and just add it as a, it's really useful. I'm just gonna take it and put it in here. Um,
So we know that if we have two variables, I'll say let A.
I mean, did you just like you just create nodes as you learn stuff? Is that how you do it? This is really good.
Is assigned an object literal value of 10, and I'll say let B is assigned to A. Now if I were to update one of the variables, we know that since they both reference the same object, if I change one, it will also affect the other variable. It'll console.log A and console.log B, and since they both reference the same object, they'll both have a value of 20. So I run in the panel. So here they display the same value as they both reference the same object. Now, if we wanted to have it the case where if we change the
You use Discord as kind of like your alternative for cloud. I guess I don't do the exact same, so I can't say that. But yeah, like a free database, right?
value of one of these variables, it doesn't affect the other, then we need to have it.
Oh, speaking of which, does YouTube have a limit on how much does you yeah, like what? Yeah, I guess okay, but I mean, I guess the duration is like what? A video can't be greater than 24 hours long or something. It's interesting to think, huh? So basically, YouTube is like a free storage solution. I guess it's not like people wouldn't want to store everything on YouTube, maybe. No.
Be two independent variables, and that can be accomplished by creating a clone of an object. So we know that objects are passed by reference, so we need to use a built-in method called object.assign. So instead of saying let B is assigned to A,
Anyway,
I'll initialize it
interesting
with an
to
object literal.
think
Then before I assign
about.
this value, I will do object.assign. First I will pass
Yeah, I mean, people obviously find ways to overcome that limit somehow. But yeah. And it's on free code camp about. Ooh. No, oh. Interesting. What's the duration size? Maybe it's not 24 hours. Yeah, I mean, this is okay by default, so people don't just create unlimited videos. Oh, it's either 256 GB or 12 hours, whichever is. Oh, wait, whichever is less. Or maybe it's an older video or something. Or maybe as your channel gets popular, you know, YouTube is like, you know what, you can just show videos or something.
Do you want
Yeah,
to make
maybe
a great
they
impression
provide
on your
exceptions
customers?
for popular channels with
Cloud project
as many
camp.
subscribers as
We have Andrew
Free
Brown
Code
here.
Camp.
He is the teacher of this course, and he is a prolific contributor to the
Yeah,
FreeCodeCamp.org
40.
YouTube channel. He is
Crazy, isn't it? Like the work that everyone does. Like I won't say a few years back, but Like a few decades back, you know, um, like the way to knowledge was like go to a library and go here, go there, you know. But now, like everything is just at the tip of your fingertips. Tip of your fingertips. I'm pretty sure it's said in a it should be said in a different way, but yeah, it's just crazy.
The target
Yeah.
object. This is the object that I want to copy to. So in this case, it would be B. And then I'll provide one or more source objects in which I want to copy the properties and methods to the target object. In this case, it is the variable A. So all the properties and methods of A will be copied to B. And it will create two independent variables. So B will now have a clone of the object that A references. So here I'll save this and I'll run it. So here you see they reference two different objects and they have different values. Changing one does not affect the other. Now we also have another syntax that allows us to accomplish this.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, reading documentation. No, I literally get what you mean. The documentation has to be good. Like I've seen, if the documentation isn't good, it yeah.
This known as the spread operator. It uses three dots as an ellipsis, and this will create a copy of the object. So instead of having to do object.assign, when I initialize B, I can use three dots.
Like what do you expect? That are you gonna save space by like they just make it really tiny down there? Yeah. I mean, never go on docs. You do need documentation at the end of the day, but yeah, or just simply Google it. Probably someone in Stack Overflow would have come across the same problem. Like documentation would probably be the last option. Like at that point, the problem that you're facing would pretty much be new, right? Like it would be your first time or something.
Dot dot dot. And then the object that I want to clone. In this case, it'd be A. So this will create two independent.
For me, it's like I just Google it first. Probably I find the answer right away. If not, yeah, I just check if there's some video or. But it depends on what I'm doing to, you know. Sometimes I know, hey, this isn't a popular project. In that case, I just go directly to the documentation.
Objects, so they're not referencing the same object in memory. Open up the panel and we'll get the same result. How would you make a clone of an object?
Oh, I mean, like, I forgot to mention our famous AI model. That's upcoming option nowadays, isn't it? Rising option, rising
In JavaScript,
star.
we make a clone of an object by using object.assign. For the first argument, we pass the target object. Then you can pass in one or more source objects. You can also use a more modern syntax known as the spread operator in order to copy the properties and methods to a target object by the use of three dots before the variable that references the object. In programming languages like C++, when you create an object, you have to allocate memory and deallocate it. But in programming languages such as JavaScript, C# and Java, we don't have this concept. So you don't have to explicitly deallocate memory. The JavaScript engine has a garbage collector, meaning that it will self-manage itself and find the variables and objects that are no longer being used in our program, and it will intelligently free up that memory. As JavaScript developers, we don't have to worry about allocating and deallocating memory for our objects.
I guess I haven't really experienced garbage collection with, like, I hear people say this is like yeah, it's pretty much I would like to say pretty much torture, but yeah, it's pretty hard, isn't it? I guess I have to experience it to comment on it. But yeah, I guess for game development you have no choice. You want to be as efficient with memory as possible.
In
So
JavaScript, we have a built-in class called
use
math. This has static helper methods to help us do mathematical calculations and is often utilized in programming interviews. It has many methods, so don't worry about memorizing it. Rather, refer to developer.mozilla.org. Search for math and click the first recommendation. Then you can read the documentation.
all right, I guess we'll end the stream here. Decided to change the timing here. It's totally off. It's like 11:50 or something now. All right, we've reached the 2 hour mark. 1.5 hours more to go. I'll be obviously be commenting this. In fact, let's just comment this. So it's pretty much, I guess we learned about objects. So I'll just comment that. Yep. Changes, and there we go. So yeah, this would be it. I'll be ending this stream now. I'll see you in the next one. Some code goes. Alright, okay. Oh, during the night. I didn't understand what you meant there. Oh, it's 7:30 AM there? Oh, alright. So it's like about 4 hour difference. Alright, I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye.